In the University of Maryland's strategic plan, Transforming Maryland, lies a core value for the institution. The great universities of the 21st century, the world-class institutions, will be those willing and able to partner with others to achieve more than any single institution or organization could on its own. Beginning in 2013, Maryland will join the Committee on Institutional Cooperation, a consortium of Big Ten member universities plus the University of Chicago. For more than half a century, these world-class research institutions have advanced their academic missions, generated unique opportunities for students and faculty, and served the common good by sharing expertise, leveraging campus resources, and collaborating on innovative programs. With a combined $9 billion in annual research, the member institutions represent a powerhouse of the top universities in the country, a super university. Opportunities for collaboration and for real impact lie ahead. This is Research Matters, the Committee on Institutional Cooperation.
Welcome to Research Matters. I'm Don Kettle, Dean of the School of Public Policy at the University of Maryland, and your host for this program. The national athletic landscape changed in November when the University of Maryland and Rutgers University announced they would be joining the Big Ten Conference. Most of the media coverage concentrated on athletics, but for those of us in Maryland, a big benefit will be in academics through the Big Ten's academic arm, the Committee on Institutional Cooperation, or the CIC. The move to the Big Ten provides lots of benefits for the University of Maryland faculty and students in research and teaching and administration, and that is the topic for this program. Very pleased to welcome to College Park the woman responsible for leading and directing collaborative academic programs across all of the member universities, the director of the CIC, Barbara McFadden-Allen. We're also joined by our very own Senior Vice President and Provost, Marianne Rankin, and finally, our Dean of Libraries and one-time member of the CIC at a different institution with a somewhat respectable basketball team, Indiana University, Patricia Steel. Welcome to all of our panelists today. And Barb, let me start with you if I could. There are literally hundreds of programs and hundreds of collaborations that exist out there. Which do you think really offer the most potential for the kind of new partnership that we're building between Maryland and the CIC and the Big Ten?
Right. Well, first of all, I could say we're really excited to welcome Maryland in. This is my first trip to campus. I'll be back very soon with my senior team to meet lots of people. So just wanted to say how very excited we are about bringing you into the fold. And in fact, so excited that you'll be coming into the CIC a year before you come in the Big Ten Athletic Conference. So we didn't want to wait to start engaging with you.
Terrific, that's great.
Yeah, so a couple things occur to me where you'll be bringing some significant value to the rest of the institutions right away. One of them has to do with language acquisition. So we're working on a project across the CIC to enhance the number of language offerings available on any campus. So together we teach 120 less commonly taught languages, but the most any one campus teaches in an average year would be between 30 and 60. So by working together, we,
so more than double the kind of reach of language
easily.
study.
And Maryland has quite a reputation in language acquisition and research and linguistics, these sorts of things. So we want to engage with you all very soon, I think, in fact, even before July, to work on that. As a matter of fact, today, some faculty were gathered at the University of Iowa where they had to cancel the meeting because of the blizzard, but language faculty had gathered there to talk about how we're going to lead this effort. So again, I think that's an area where Maryland will be engaging with us quickly, and we'll be able to roll these courses out to your students, hopefully in 2014.
That's great, because as you say, that no one campus can possibly offer all these courses, but by combining our forces and combining offerings across all the member institutions, any student anywhere has access to the courses everywhere.
Exactly. So that's a program where we're really getting some momentum and energy, and again, where I think Maryland's going to really help us advance that. Other areas where you bring a particular expertise we're very excited about your engagement in the libraries. Pat has been a leader in the CIC in the past, and so I think we'll see energy there. Our information technology infrastructure, we're really looking forward to talking with your staff about how that rollout will go. And finally, in faculty leadership and faculty development, I sense that's an area of great interest.
Big one for us, I think. But you know, the students are already asking about the study abroad opportunities. That was, I met with a student group yesterday, and that was the first question I had.
Good.
And what kind of study abroad opportunities do we think that our students are going to have that perhaps are not available now, Marianne?
Well, the CIC institutions have an agreement whereby students in any institution within the CIC have access to any other institution's study abroad connections. So it will expand ours dramatically. I think it would expand any universities very, very dramatically. So the students want to know, they're into the specifics already. You know, like, where can I go? You know, how long, when, and how soon.
Right.
So I was getting all those questions yesterday.
That's
They're
fascinating.
very excited about that.
And Marianne, President Lowe has really asked you to take the lead in trying to frame these partnerships. And in addition to study abroad, are there other programs at the top of your list?
That one certainly is, because I think it's something we were trying to do locally anyway. We have a new vice president in charge of international studies, and he's just gung-ho to really push on all fronts here. So this is a perfect connection for him. It really immediately increases his portfolio. But I think, you know, some other areas, undergraduate research is another one that is really a big focus here, and we can plug into opportunities, I think, across the CIC that'll be great. Research for opportunities for graduate students, connections at these wonderful CIC universities, expand our graduate student access to resources very dramatically. I think we haven't even yet had the time to look into the specifics there and realize how dramatically. I know that it's huge. So there's just all kinds of opportunities. But the leadership one is one that I personally would like, because I can see already here, I'm new to the provost job here, but I think we need more leadership training here. I think it's one of the things that I was planning to do anyway, and now I can plug in to the CIC.
And can you talk about that? What kind of leaders are we talking about training? And
well,
how
we're
would this
talking about training,
work?
for example, for chairmen. When a faculty member gets chosen, asked or begged to be a chairman, or a dean, or an associate dean, or associate provost, you walk into a job, assuming you accept it. One day you are just a faculty member and don't know the answers to any of these questions. The next day, you're the person who's supposed to know the answers. And you're supposed to also know how to supervise staff, which are not necessarily the same as your research group, and you know, you name it. And then there are business issues that all of a sudden you're supposed to understand, balance sheets and things you may never have seen before. I'm speaking from personal experience.
And there's no chairman school out there to learn how to do this.
Yeah, right. The buck stops with you. And you're also starting to find out things about your colleagues you never wanted to know and don't know how to deal with.
And Barb, how does the training work inside the CIC? How does this work?
There are two programs that we'll be working with you on right away. So one of them is the Departmental Executive Officers Seminar. So this is a 3-day boot camp. This is, Marianne said, you send your new department chairs or heads, whatever you call them in your university, and they learn how to put the budget together and how to negotiate with university administration to accomplish objectives, these sorts of things. So that's a little 3-day boot camp. The other is a more extensive leadership development for faculty who you're grooming for leadership positions on your campus who may aspire to be deans or provosts themselves. Each campus selects 6 fellows per year, and we convene them 3 times on 3 different CIC campuses for 3 days. So you meet with the president at the institution that's hosting, and the provost, and people from the Board of Regents, and you hear from the chief financial officer. So you're really learning how a research university is funded, operated, what the future looks like for that enterprise. And you're meeting immediately this group of fellows who will be your supportive peers over the life of your university leadership. And so over the course of many years, hundreds of faculty have gone through this in the CIC. Many of our own provosts have gone through the program in their earlier years and now are presidents and provosts and deans. So, yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful model. But as Marianne said, yeah, one day you get a job and they say, here's the campus handbook and the attorney's phone number.
You walk through the door and
you'll
still
cause problems.
And good luck.
So,
Pat, one of the things
forth
that's absolutely on the front lines of this collaboration is on the libraries. And you know from your service at Indiana about what some of the potential is. Can you, from your experience, can you talk a little about what it is you think that we're going to be looking forward to?
It's the thing I think that's the most important is that we join a group of librarians that are used to working together, that have the same values, that face the same problems, are generally comparable across each other, and have a history of doing really interesting things. And I think strategically for the libraries, we've had all this discussion about how transformational this is, but we're in the midst in the libraries of redefining ourselves and seeing what we should be, and to be with a group of people who are also doing this, and it's going to speed us up. It's going to.
What kinds of things do you think offer the best potential for us here?
Well, we have the very basic things that we will have immediate access. All of our faculty and students will have access to the collections. So that's through one port that won a prize, I think, didn't it?
Yes, 90 million book volumes
Yes.
in our university libraries.
So
That's
we're going to
remarkable.
increase in size rather dramatically. One of the initiatives that the libraries have started recently is a shared print program, so that we can rely upon materials, at least a copy, being available to us for our use. Then we can make all kinds of decisions. We're getting ready to have a storage facility here at Severn. It'll allow us to make decisions about what we'll put in there in the context of this much broader collection.
So if any of us who are researchers are looking for a publication, if it's anywhere inside the CIC, it gives us access?
There's a
Physical
whole
delivery?
mechanism for delivery and identifying and delivering.
As well as some of the electronic connections, because I have to ask you what a hottie is and why we ought to care.
Hottie. Well, that was fun. I think it's about the initiative that the group takes. So they'll take on big things and solve them. So we were Michigan was the first university that was pulled into the Google Books program, because they have bigger collections than we do, amazingly enough. And so immediately the CIC librarian said, well, you know, we just need to all be in this. And we negotiated for all of the CIC libraries to be Google libraries. And so then we started thinking about our task, the role of libraries for preserving the future. So what were we going to do with all this digital content? And the question was, will Google be there in 200 years? We know libraries will be. And so we had to take responsibility for that corpus. And so we were going to have what was it called? The something digital library. It wasn't a very exciting name. It had a name.
Virtual electronic library.
But you need a name of some kind.
It had a name. And we started our discussions. And first you had to have a name besides that, because we expanded immediately, brought California in and so forth. And then one person Paul Courant had this idea of a name, but it was the domain was already taken. So we talked about an elephant. An elephant is, you know, it's big, it's strong, it's trustworthy, it has a memory. So we thought it never forgets, exactly. So all these things would be there forever. And Hati is I think the Indian name for elephant. And so that's our motto now. And in fact, I think our communications person might have come up with that, an elephant. There's an elephant in the library.
So there's the elephant in the room in this case is a strategy for making sure that our scholars have this electronic collection that will be there forever, based in the libraries.
It's preserved forever. And now the Hati Trust is taking on other things, like, no one may have noticed, but almost all government documents come electronically now. But we have this antiquated system where we all have to hold on to the print. And so we've been wanting the government to digitize all of those things that are the older materials. And we've just decided it's not going to happen, so the CIC is going to do it.
Oh, fantastic.
And so
and
through the HathiTrust.
Barbara, earlier you talked about the electronic networks and the fiber optic lines out there, and I have to ask you about that. We all have internet in our homes, so what's the big deal about this? Why, and what kind of opportunities is this going to increase for all of us?
Oh, that's a great question, and this is a project we're really excited about. So it started out like so many projects in the CIC, and I think very much like the libraries, where in this case, the chief information officers of our universities were trying to solve a problem they had some years ago. They needed to build out their campus networks to increase bandwidth, right? Because you're constantly consuming more bandwidth in your campuses. So they're talking about how they're going to develop these individual networks, and while they're talking about it, realize, oh, if we did a bid on this together, we can build one big network that we all invest the same amount of money in, but it would be exponentially bigger and faster and cheaper. So this would be a good idea. So they began with this very simple premise, again, of just building out these networks at the same place and the same time in order to realize efficiencies. But as soon as they did that, they had much more power in the marketplace to buy even more bandwidth and to build services on this that would benefit our researchers. So in this case, we co-own and operate a fiber optic network so that things like your email and internet are operating faster. But they're huge pipes for your researchers. So physicists on CIC member university campuses can send data live to the Large Hadron Collider experiment in Switzerland, for example, which is something many other campuses can't do and can't handle. So
and the problem with that is that to be able to communicate and be able to work effectively, you need to be able to send a lot of information in a short period of time, which would clog my internet at home.
Exactly, or certainly slow things down significantly. So again, it's this process that many individuals go through on the campuses to figure out what is the problem we need to solve on our campus, and is there a piece of this problem that we could solve together and thereby do it better, faster, and cheaper as a group of universities? And the answer to that sometimes is yes and sometimes no. So much of the work of the CIC is actually in building and working with lots of communities across the campuses, your peer deans, for example, who might at first simply get together to share strategies about how you manage issues from your perspective in a college and a research university. But then advance to solving problems together, and once you do that, you're co-investing, and that's where the real growth of the CIC comes from. Not from us sitting around the headquarters going, hey, here's, here's what we should do for the future of research universities, but organically each of the institutions examining that. And again, another reason we're really excited about Maryland coming in is we don't think of this as making a bigger CIC or adding you to the existing CIC. It's transforming the CIC because you'll bring new perspectives, new people, new problems to solve that again, we think will accelerate some of our work.
Marion, I have to ask you, what do you see as the first big next steps that the University of Maryland is going to be taking in trying to secure the academic cooperation that's going to be part of joining the Big Ten?
Well, we have a commission working that is looking at a lot of different aspects of joining the Big Ten, but there are 4 subgroups, 4 task forces. One of them is focused on the CIC. So it's made up of faculty and staff and student representatives and even representatives from the private sector, and we've been discussing what are the best first steps? What are the first things we want to take advantage of? And also, what can we bring to the CIC that's special, that Maryland has, that maybe others don't have, so we can really be, feel like we're very important contributors from the beginning instead of just, the new kid on the block.
Yeah, exactly. But from libraries to computer networks, there's so much going on here.
Exactly. So, and we do have a lot. I mean, our geography here puts us in touch with federal agencies and creates partnership opportunities with federal agencies and other local sort of power plants here that maybe is a little bit special. Cybersecurity, terrorism, expertise in terrorism, these kinds of things are big on this campus. Not that they don't exist on the CIC campuses, but maybe we can bring some special insight or opportunities.
The special contribution that comes from our special location here and the impact we can have.
Exactly.
Now it's time to the segment of the show we're calling Grades. We're a university after all, right? So we've got to have grades, but we're still very early in the process of connecting with the CIC. So I think we all have to agree we have to begin by giving ourselves an incomplete so far. But now imagine we're 2 years from now, looking back into our integration into the CIC. What program do you think will have the greatest impact on our university? What is it going to take to get us an A? Mary Ann, let me just start with you if I could.
Which one? Well, gosh, I'd have to say the library is really a big deal. I mean, it's clearly one of maybe the most mature of the collaborations, and it's something that we have talked about in other ways, some of these things we're trying to do here already. So that's a big one, I think. The student opportunities are very big, I think. It's going to really expand what we can do.
Barb, how can we get an A?
Right. Well, again, I'm very excited about the opportunity to expand these language offerings, and I think you're going to have a significant impact there. I'd just say one area that I think really represents the future of the CIC and where we can have the greatest impact is in research. Our universities, with Maryland joining, will engage in $9 billion of funded research every year.
$9 billion in funded research?
So this is an area, if we could think strategically about those investments and leverage them, these are laboratory facilities and other kinds of research efforts, I just think we could really have a transformational impact. And I think, again, with your coming in and your engagement on that front and your research VP's energy around this, I really think, again, that is an area where you can have a great impact and would have a significant impact on the nation and globally. So
and actually, that goes right along with what I was saying about trying to find a special niche that we're real experts in.
Exactly.
Pat, what do you see? What is it going to take to get us to an A?
Barb I vote for the libraries. But I think Barb said two important words that I think basically is how this strikes me as, and that was leverage and transformational. Because an immediate thought was, well, we're going to save all this money because we're going to have joint pub. But really, we're going to put more into it because we're going to get so much more out. And I think it's just going to move our university to a place, it's certainly going to transform the way we think and do in the libraries. And I think just seeing ourselves in this context and being able to work, like you say, within the context of it's the mentality, I think, that's going to get us an A, because there's so many things that we'll be able to do.
So it sounds like we got incomplete now, but the route to an A is the route that we know.
Engagement.
Looks like there's a lot of potential. And with
we're
engagement,
smart enough to do it, right?
You know, Don, I really think that joining the CIC is going to turn out to be more important to this university than joining the Big Ten.
I agree.
Fascinating.
And faculty are saying that already.
We've got that conversation underway already.
I'm not the first person by any means to say that on this campus.
Although a Maryland-Indiana game would be good.
That's coming for sure. And we're going to start officially competing in the Big Ten on the athletic side in 2014, but we're joining the CIC, the academic side of this partnership, a full year earlier, starting this summer in 2013. As you've heard from our terrific panelists today, there's a wealth of academic opportunities for us to take advantage of. It's an exciting time for our students and for our faculty. That's it for this episode of Research Matters. I'd like to thank our esteemed guests for joining us today. I'm Don Kettle. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again very soon as we bring together more of the university's top flight researchers working on problems that matter to you.